What's up, YouTube? Promise Keeper. And we have not yet introduced the world to Tank. We've had him about 3 weeks. He's just over a year old and came from a rescue. The owner got evicted from the property and gave him his brother and his mom up. He's an Australian Shepherd. His mom is the Australian Shepherd. She's a little dog. Looks just like him but doesn't have the muscle. And his dad was a chocolate lab. It's where he gets his face and his muscle. He is 70 pounds. This is a 43-inch cage. So if you're trying to gauge what you should buy for the dog, of course they could always use something bigger, but we really didn't have the space for a 48-inch cage. So we've been in the 42, and in this case the Kong is a 43. He's got plenty of room to lay down and be comfortable. If the bed is in here, he's perfectly fine with the cage. So maybe this is your situation. This will be the second cage that we have tried. And while we picked him up from a shelter not knowing what we were getting, he's turned out to be one of the best dogs ever. But if you put him in this cage and walk away and he knows you've left, things change. Fortunately, he's not destructive by nature, but he has already proven the Kong cage will not hold him. And this is our second try. You want to come out, buddy? Come on. Come on. Okay, just pay it. We bought the Rural King cage. It was only 60 bucks, cheapest we could find. Much lighter gauge steel, and he did well in it once, and by the second time we left, we really saw what he could do. And he had bent the door halfway open. He ripped the steel slat off of its welds. He completely destroyed the tray in the bottom, and he had gotten so excited that he managed to push the cage over onto its front and pressed his way right through the sides. So, Rural King, 60 bucks, cheapest. It was made okay, but here's where all this comes down to. If you need a cage for your dog who is not cage trained yet, it's not going to do you any good. We bought what we thought would be the stronger cage, and this guy's head is so solid that he will either rip the welds off or he will push his way through. What you got to be careful with is if you have a dog that will not compliantly lay in the cage, he's either going to break it or hurt himself trying to get out. So that's unfortunate, but that's kind of where we are. And Tank knows that he is strong enough. If there is any give, he is going to find a weakness and get out. The Kong cage. It is supposed to be a sturdier steel. That is only the case on the front and on the side where the doors are. The side here, the back, the top, the bottom, that is the same thin gauge steel you'd see on the cheaper cage. So there was no benefit there. We're able to watch him on our little Blink Amazon cameras press his way right through the side. And you should be able to see how he managed to grip that with his giant fangs. And he distorted it. He managed to somehow dislodge the top, which even me having opposable thumbs is kind of difficult to do. He managed to push the top off, and he pressed until this side came loose, and he walked out. Once he was out, we were able to watch him on camera just kind of peruse the house, and he sat by the front door and essentially waited till we came home. So we are at the point now where we know he doesn't like the cage, but he is safe enough to leave out. For $120, $130, there's no reason to invest your money in a cage like this because it didn't hold up any better than the half-price cage from Rural King. A lot of people try a lot of different things, and we could have done zip ties. We actually tried carabiners to try to keep him from getting through, and this one right here we had holding one of the doors shut, and whatever he did, this no longer latches. He managed to bend this little light gauge aluminum, so that sucks. We're going to take this back. We may buy the cheap Rural King cage again just so there's somewhere we can keep him if we need to. But this did not hold up any better than our budget option. What I will say, and just to cover it again, this is supposed to be rust resistant. We're not going to keep it long enough to find that out. We had a bottom of the line cage for our previous pet, and she would go nuts and lick this cage to no end, and by the time we had to put the dog down, the cage was completely rusted. We couldn't give it to anybody else. So hopefully that is a real benefit. The front, this side reinforced. Overall there is more steel, though it's not necessarily any tougher. He didn't break the weld like he did on the Rural King cage, but what I do like that they did better with this, which helps avoid the bottom and the top corners coming apart as easy as the cheap cage, is you have to lift it up and insert it, and then you also have the latch. It's like that on both sides. We looked at the PetSmart brand cage, and it did not have a latch like this at all. It was simply lift up and out. I don't understand that. Our dog, with all he was doing, that's very simple, very easy to happen by accident, in my opinion. So the trick here is figuring out how to tame your dog, and we're still working on that ourselves. But this cage is made better, but it will not keep him in any better than the half-price cage from Rural King. So that's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Made well, but the dog got out, so we're taking it back. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you guys have tried this cage yourselves, what you've done. Everybody likes to come up with something, zip ties around the edges. But again, if he knows there's any give, he's going to try until he either hurts himself or breaks the cage. So we're just going to send this back and train the dog to be left out at home without damaging things. Thanks for watching.